Welcome to the Classical Happy Hour. I'm your host, Martin Davids. This is the show where my guests and I talk about music while enjoying a tasty beverage. Then we try to play something together. Today's guest is Kathryn Montoya. Hi.
Hi, Marty. Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, it's great to have you. So, for my listeners that don't know you, tell us what you're doing for work these days.
Well, I'm here in Chicago playing for the Haymarket production of Arte Circe, which is a lot of fun. Marty's also playing, and I play oboe in this production, but I generally work as a oboe and recorder player.
Do you play any other instruments?
I do. I don't know that anyone would want to pay me to play them, but I've been through quite a few instruments in my time. Used to play euphonium, and I loved that instrument when I was a kid. And sadly, braces ended that career overnight. But I'm still a huge fan of the brass band. That was a total thrill. And I played some piano, not at any particular high level. What else? I play some tin whistle, and I really enjoy that. Again, I'm not a great tin whistle player, but I love the rep. And a bit of gamba.
Gamba, too? Like the full size or the little one?
The bass viol. I studied with Wendy Gillespie when we were at Indiana University. Yeah.
Cool. So, tell me a little bit about your education, how you learned all those instruments.
Well, I'm not quite sure how far to go back. I would say that I was always somebody that really liked music and was drawn to the kind of social aspect of it, and just liking the music in general. I studied at Oberlin Conservatory in Ohio and then went on to Indiana University, Bloomington. At Oberlin, I was a modern oboe major, and then while I was there, I ended up going to one of the historical performance concerts and heard recorder played by Michael Lynn, who teaches there, and it was such a wonderful concert, and I remembered what it was like to play, recorder as a kid. Like, you get handed that plastic thing in whatever second grade, and I thought, that's actually a great instrument. I need to pick this up again. So I ended up studying with him and graduated with a double degree there in recorder also, and modern oboe, and then ended up going on to IU as a recorder major in my master's, and then it wasn't until my doctorate that I really picked up Baroque oboe, historical oboes, and had the opportunity to work with Washington and Klein there.
Oh man, those were the good old days.
They were the good old days, yeah. That was.
I had no idea you were a recorder major.
Yeah, in my master's, studying with Eva Lejeune. She had come while I was at Oberlin. She had come to give a master class and stuff, and kind of made an offer about studying with her, and I did end up auditioning. And at that time, IU, I don't know if it still has it anymore, but IU had this wonderful teaching assistantship program for recorder players that you could teach the pre-college program and work with kids and get like a good stipend. So it was a good deal, and it was a great place to study for sure.
Yeah. So, is your family musical? Like, did you grow up making music at home?
None of my family are professional musicians. I would say they appreciate music. My father played the guitar and sang for fun, but I don't think he could read music. But certainly appreciated it. He was a great dancer, and like music in general. And my mom certainly has always been super supportive of me studying, and but my family's more into science. Science background, I guess. Literature, yeah.
So, like, where did you grow up?
I was born in Minnesota, in Grand Rapids, Minnesota, where the Mississippi River begins. Way up north, and but at the time my family was living in Rio in Brazil. My dad worked for the Organization of American States, so we were moved around quite a bit. So We were in Rio for a number of years, and then moved to Washington, D.C. area, and then on to Costa Rica for a number of years, and then back to the U.S. So we were hopping about quite a bit.
So did you learn like Portuguese as a baby?
I would have spoken some Portuguese, which sadly I've entirely lost, as a kid, because I don't use it so much. But I do speak Spanish, and grew up speaking both Spanish and English. Mm-hmm.
Cool. So you said you played the euphonium, but at what point did you start playing the oboe?
I'm not exactly sure when I picked that up, but actually I left out an instrument too. I had been playing flute for a while in middle school in band, and some friend of my uncle's had found an oboe in his attic, and they knew I liked music, and the oboe landed in my lap, so I thought, well, I'll pick this up. And eventually I thought that I was sort of more drawn to that instrument and continued on with it. So it would have been sometime in middle school that I picked up oboe.
So you were probably playing in the middle school band?
Yeah, that type of thing. And before then, euphonium and a bit of flute and stuff. I was kind of into picking up whatever woodwind I could get my hands on for a while.
I played oboe in the middle school band.
Did you?
I did.
And what happened?
I just remember playing the concert and the director going around the room making everybody play a scale. And there were two oboists, were like, ba-da-da-da-da. And so I played mine. I somehow eked it out. And then the other oboist, it was like, like some horrible sound came out, but no notes.
Do on an oboe.
Poor woman.
Oh.
I'm sure she got over it. She probably never thinks of that now.
Well, Marty, I had no idea. You have to give the Baroque oboe a go now.
Oh my God. Is it harder or easier?
They're both hard, but I'd say in different ways. Yeah. I mean, you still have to deal with the reed and whatever, can't get around that.
I just found breathing difficult with that instrument.
Yeah, it has the weird thing that you can get stuck with too much air. Like learning how to get rid of air is a thing on the oboe.
Yeah, it's like you could never exhale. Nothing's coming out.
Yeah.
It's like trying to blow through a pretzel rod.
Nice. Wow.
Yeah, I'll tell you the story later, or maybe I should just tell it. I wanted to quit the violin, and
When was this?
in like 7th grade.
Okay.
And my mom was like, "Well, okay, but you can switch to another instrument, but until you're as good on that as you are on the violin, you've got to do both."
Okay.
So I was in the 7th grade band, thinking about attaining my 7th grade level of violin playing, and it never happened. I think I fainted in a lesson one time, and I was like, I don't think this is for me.
That might lead to that conclusion.
Long phrase, and then the floor came up to meet me.
Oh, yeah, oboe gives you a boot in the ass when you're least expecting it, I think.
And then I could just pick up a violin and play as much as I wanted without
Yeah.
fainting,
Yeah. Well.
Just breathe whatever.
Oh.
So, like, when an oboe out of somebody's attic, it seems like it couldn't have sounded that great. Like, it still appealed to you, though?
I mean, the instrument was functional. I don't think it even needed any repairs. It was just something that hadn't been used in some time. It wasn't a fancy instrument. I mean, it was pretty basic, instrument. But I was grateful to have it, and kind of chugged away. I was really lucky to have teachers that I really liked. Music teachers that I really liked, kind of all along the way. I always looked forward to lessons, and I'm not sure I was, until much, much later on in my musical life, a very good student in a way. In terms of practicing, I was not terribly disciplined, but I did really enjoy the music itself and the time with another person who enjoyed music.
Yeah, I think probably a lot of us weren't that great as kids.
I mean, yeah, some people are from. I mean, I can remember. I went to Interlochen Arts Camp when I was young. I went like as a intermediate kid, and then later on as a high school kid to that program. And the first time that I went as an intermediate girl, my mom dropped me off, and we spent the night in a cabin before I went to join like all the other kids. And we checked in, and I remember that night some person was playing the tuba, like practicing all night long. I mean, for hours and hours and hours. And I was shocked that anybody like actually practiced for one, but like then practiced for hours and like went over things and
On the tuba.
On a tuba. And it was a real eye opener. I caught on many years later, but yeah, it took me a while.
What's wrong with that?
I was not, yeah, not into the practicing as a kid, that's for sure.
Oh, me either. Yeah, I think some people think their teacher can't tell that they didn't practice if they,
oh, no.
you know, they can always
Your
tell.
teacher can always tell. That's true. Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like maybe it's still fun for them if the student is bright and like engaged in the lesson at least, you know.
Yeah, I mean, and I certainly got quite a lot out of those lessons, even though I didn't practice, I must say, you know, so much. Maybe not everything that my teacher hoped, but, you know, it was useful time, and I clearly remember it as being positive. Yeah.
It's been so long since I've had a lesson that it's really hard to remember anything that happened except for the most outrageous events that occurred in my lessons.
Okay. That's pretty funny.
Maybe I should contemplate. So, like, what kind of music speaks to you the most? I know you play a lot of Baroque music. Is that, like, something you're more passionate about, or did you just end up doing that?
In some ways, I'm one of those people that whatever I'm playing at the moment, I'm really enjoying, usually. I do play a lot of Baroque music, and there's loads of it that I like. You know, French music and early Italian music, and I'd say I'm particularly fond of like division music, 17th century Italian and a bit earlier. I really like performing it.
Like on the recorder?
Yeah, on the recorder. What else? English, early English, you know, all that Locke and Laws and Purcell and all that. It always strikes me as kind of melancholy. Even the most beautiful kind of joyful music always sounds slightly melancholy to me, and I like it. Yeah, I mean, there's so much of it. How do you narrow it down? I guess one of the things that I've liked about being in this field is that I do get to play a pretty wide variety of rep, particularly, you know, playing both recorder and oboe, and then, you know, occasionally even some earlier rep on shawm or, you know, consort instruments or whatever, and that it gives me a pretty wide range, and I appreciate that. Kind of different every week.
Do you own a shawm?
I do own a shawm.
Like a whole chest of them, or?
No, unfortunately, I have a shawm, but it's a nice instrument, and I do enjoy playing. I don't play it all the time, but
Just when you're outside.
Just when I'm outside. No, the last time I played it for any length of time was when the Globe had a production in 2013, I think it was, on Broadway of Richard III and Twelfth Night. And I subbed for some of the London Globe people, and that was really fun. And that was a lot of shawm playing. It was a good time.
Are you holding out on other instruments too, like the crumhorn?
Well, I do play crumhorn.
Racket?
All those things. I don't own any of those fun, buzzy Renaissance instruments, but happily, Oberlin and, colleagues are often happy to loan one out. But I don't get much call for playing those usually, but they are wonderful.
So you're still teaching at Oberlin?
I do still teach at Oberlin, so I teach historical oboes and I coach Baroque ensembles.
How long have you been teaching there?
15 years.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a good place. I appreciate being there, and they're great students. I went there myself, and I'm always kind of surprised how much further along most of my students are than I was at that same age. I mean, I feel like in general they're a lot more put together and I don't know, just more advanced in their playing and ideas about music than where I was at the time.
Why do you think that is? Do you think it's their education, or is it YouTube?
YouTube. I'm not entirely sure. I think part of it is that, in terms of the early instruments, they are exposed to them sometimes younger than I was. Like Oberlin is a place where you can study the Baroque oboe as an undergraduate, and you get handed an instrument and a functional reed, and the whole setup is just handed over to you, which is amazing. And there are all these festivals around, workshops and things where you can go and study, and often they will supply an instrument like, the TOEFL music workshop or Oberlin BPI or something like that. And there are high schoolers that turn up and, learn to play these instruments.
Do you do the BPI?
No, I don't teach at the summer BPI usually. I have, but most summers I don't.
Yeah, I think my conception of Baroque violin, I didn't really know about it until almost like grad school.
Yeah, no, that's where I was too. It's pretty much picking up those instruments later on.
And I think my conception of how to make music was just so in that box of like that modern violin style with all the vibrato and like wall-to-wall carpeting sound and, just no breadth of understanding.
Yeah, it's sometimes students when I work with them, they might split their lessons, so they'll spend some time on Baroque oboe and learning Baroque oboe and rep. But sometimes, let's say they've got an audition coming up, or actually it is often an audition, like either for an orchestra or grad school auditions or whatever. But there's an awful lot of rep on there that is Baroque music. It's often, for sure, the Mozart concerto, some part of it, maybe with a cadenza, and maybe some Bach cantata excerpts.
There's so many Bach solos, right?
Yeah, for oboe, there's a ton of it. And it's so they'll bring in their modern instrument, and it's really fun working with that too. That's usually an instrument that they have a ton of control over, and they can do pretty much anything you throw at them, and get a chance to talk about different ways of thinking about the music and thinking about articulation more like related to speech, or thinking how you might think about phrasing or where you might breathe or whatever, depending on, is this a dance movement, is it is it something else, or we do quite a bit of that too, and it's something I really enjoy. I'm usually quite pleased when a student does that and brings in their audition rep.
So do you still play the modern oboe?
I don't anymore. I enjoy listening to other people play the modern oboe very much, but I...
Put it back in the attic?
No, I actually ended up selling my modern oboe. I hung on to it for many years, but I just wasn't playing it anymore. And making a living playing historical oboes, you end up playing so many different instruments. It's usually, at least like four, let's say at 415 pitch of various sizes, and low pitch 392, maybe the classical 430, and some other things. I've got a romantic oboe as well. It's a lot of reeds. Every instrument has its own reed, and it's just a lot of time, a lot of reeds, and there are so many fabulous modern players out there. I just thought, I can't keep up. I can barely keep up with trying to figure out the instruments I need to play regularly. That I'll just enjoy listening to them play that rep, and that works fine for me.
Yeah, I guess if I had to like spin all my strings for my modern violin, it would be difficult. But as it is, I just open the case and play it, you know.
Yeah, that's an amazing thing. That's one of the things I most enjoy about recorder. Actually, it's very complementary to playing the oboe. Is that you just pull it out of the case and you play it, and it's basically the same as it was, the last time you picked it up. And the oboe, it's any oboe. It really there is this constant managing of variables with the reeds.
Yeah, with the modern strings too. Sometimes you pull it out of the case, it's like still in tune. So for a violinist, I'm like, I can't even believe it, you know?
Yeah. No, it's there is something completely wonderful about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Why am I playing this other one? So, if you didn't play music for a living, what would you want to do?
Well,
Would you want to be a scientist like the rest of your family, or?
No. So, I think probably I would have gone into ornithology or something like that. I'm really crazy about birds, and when I lived in Latin America, I had parrots. I have chickens now, and I spend a lot of my free time reading about poultry and other birds because I like it. So I can imagine being very content, working with birds or observing them, or I don't know. I've often thought, like, I wish there was some kind of poultry vet course or something like that I could learn more about how to care for my chickens and all the various ailments they get. But yeah, I'm super into the birds.
I mean, the bird is such a fascinating form of life because they fly, right?
Yeah, no, they're super interesting, and they're entertaining, and they're beautiful, and they sing. And yeah, it's just endless stuff to learn about with them.
And there's so many different kinds everywhere, and wherever you go, you see different ones.
Exactly, and all my travels, I always feel like I have all these little buddies around because they're always, they're always pigeons or sparrows or whatever birds. It's a nice feeling.
Yeah, the pigeons are all over, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you see them with like missing toes, and
I know.
they just they don't seem to care. They just keep going.
They're just little troopers. They make their way. Yeah. Yeah.
So, what do you love about your work?
Well, certainly the music itself. Getting to know all this rep. And also a huge part of it is the colleagues. It's a pretty small pond that we operate in, and we see largely the same group of people wherever we are in the country. There might be some additions or subtractions, but it is a very small pond. And in some ways that makes it, you're seeing your friends all the time. Like, how long have I known you? It's been a long time.
Since '99 at least.
Something like that, yeah. So, even if you don't see them all the time, maybe a couple times a year we'll work together or something, and you get to catch up, and it's just it's a wonderful thing about it. And I was thinking also, not just the people that you play with and make music with, but like the people that oftentimes house you. Like here, I'm staying with Jerry and Pat Fuller, and you become friends with these people that open up your house, their house to you, and and you get to see them over the years, and it's a nice thing. It makes it I don't know. more human somehow than just sort of doing the work, which is good too.
But staying in hotels can be a little depressing.
Or lonely or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it can be nice too, but I value I don't know, the friendships and colleagues and all those people that help out. Yeah, and the list for me as far as like people that have housed me over the years, man, it's too long to think of, even take a guess at how many people have been housing me for, I don't know, probably close to 20 years. It's nuts.
Yeah, and like, how much of the year are you on the road, would you say? It's a lot, right?
It's a lot. Right now it's a lot. I'd say usually I take off a couple of months in the summer, but I'm on the road for much of the other 8 or 9 months. And I for myself, I don't think this is something that I'll do forever as far as traveling this much, but for now it works.
I mean, for a while you didn't even have like your own place to live, right?
Yeah, no, that's true. Pretty much lived in my suitcase, and yeah.
I remember you telling me that. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's hard. I mean, again, those people that house you and become friends and all that, it makes a huge difference. I do have a house now. Just like to put that out there. I live in a cattle barn. Yeah, and then you need, if you don't have a place that you get to be regularly, you need something to ground you, or at least I needed something to ground me. So I would visit family quite a lot, and I don't know, whatever small comforts you can find that
well, what's it all
can
for?
hang on to.
I mean, do we work just so that we can work more, or is there some meaning in life?
We were. I hope not. I hope we're not working there so we can work more. I hope. I find this work. Actually, my mom helped me understand what music is for other people, because sometimes I have been at periods where I've felt pretty grumpy about music, either with my own playing or whatever situation. But when my mom goes to a concert, it's like a journey for her. It's like time out of regular time, and it's this whole experience. And she helped me understand, talking to her about it, she helped me understand what a meaningful thing it is. And she described it as a gift. It's a gift that you give to other people to share music. And to be taken out of your regular life for a few hours, for however long that concert or whatever lasts. And I've experienced it myself, going to other people's concerts, just that feeling of like being somewhere else for a bit and being focused on just one thing, and it can be a huge joy and a relief as well.
Yeah, and the excitement of hearing someone perform. It's kind of great when we get to be in the audience.
Yeah. No, it's, I think it has meaning. I think it's worthwhile.
And it's like one of those communal things where you're feeling not just your feelings, but it's like you connect with what everyone's feeling.
Yeah, and that's powerful. And that happens, I think it can happen both, certainly on stage, where you feel like you're part of something greater than yourself. But it does also happen in the audience, that you get this feeling of like you're connected and you're experiencing something with all those people in the room. It's a moving thing.
Yeah, even if like the person next to you is totally into it, it makes it more fun for you because you can almost experience it through them a little bit.
Yeah. How
great it is for them.
Yeah. No, I think as wonderful as recordings and all those things are, there is nothing like live performance.
sure. Yeah, I was just thinking of like if you went to a magic show with someone that was just like trying to figure out how it was all done, or
Mm.
like some kind of a downer person, you know? How different that would be from
Yeah.
like going with a kid that's just like blown away by everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, actually, the other night, I don't know if you heard, was it the concert yesterday when we were playing the Arte Circe after one of the arias? I can't remember what act it was, but somebody in the audience was like, "Oh man!" Like there was this super high note that.
Yeah, I think it was the end of the second act.
Yeah, and the guy was just, I mean, he spoke out loud. He was
couldn't keep it in,
yeah, he couldn't keep it in.
It's great.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
No, those moments are great when you hear people sigh in the audience.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then there's like the hilarious stories of like taking the da capo and he was despised, and someone in the audience will say, "Oh no."
It's probably one of the oboe players. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, dear.
So, do you have any advice for young musicians?
Ooh. Gosh. I guess talk to people and ask questions. Talk to people who's playing you admire, or play play the instrument or whatever. Do the thing that you're interested in. I mean, oftentimes people are very happy to talk about what they do and share what they know about whatever instrument. Especially now, you don't necessarily have to reinvent the wheel, and feel free to contact people. If you have questions about, let's say, a Baroque oboe or a recorder, want to get started. How do you look for an instrument? What schools offer an education in this, or whatever. I ask questions, I guess, would be the first thing that comes to mind.
Yeah, I feel like people are afraid to either like talk to someone after a concert or send an email, but they shouldn't be.
Yeah, no, I totally. I think people are really, in general, pretty happy to show the instrument and answer questions as best they can, and share this thing that they're interested. I mean, that feeling of anything that you're enthusiastic about. You're like, well, let me tell you about it.
Yeah. I mean, what do we know more about?
Yeah, I spent an awful lot of time with it, so I think, yeah, ask the question and see what you get.
Do you have anything cool coming up, like a record coming out or some concert you're really excited about?
The next thing I do after this should be fun. The Boston Early Music Festival is bringing their production of The Dragon of Wantley to Stockholm and then to Bremen, and they'll record it. And it's a very funny piece. And actually, I quite like the music. It really, I think there's some beautiful arias and things in it.
Lamp?
That's exactly it. Well done.
Yeah, no, that's a great opera.
Yeah.
It's hilarious, too.
Yeah, it's really funny. I mean, laugh out loud funny. And I've never been to Sweden, so I'm looking forward to that. I want to see the Vasa, the ship, the Viking ship, and yeah.
But the Dragon of Wantley, I think that's my favorite Haymarket that we've ever done.
Oh, really?
Is that piece, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it must get performed some, but it's really great. Like that piece should definitely be out there.
Yeah, and the great thing is that he's just making fun of opera, but he's so good at it anyway.
Yeah.
Like he was the bassoon player for Handel.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, how many Handel operas did he play? He was probably just like, oh, I can do this, and
Yeah.
it'll be just as ridiculous, but I'll put funny words in.
Yeah. No, it's really good. It's really good music and hilarious. Yeah.
Lamp, yeah. No, his music's good. Okay, well, is there anything you want to ask me?
Where do you see your music? I know you compose, you do composing and you arrange music. Where are you going with that is it sort of music comes to you and or like a piece grabs your attention and you make an arrangement, or you write it down, or do you have sort of a
Plan?
A plan, yeah.
Definitely don't have that much of a plan. I think when I get inspired to do something, then I take the time to do it.
Yeah.
And kind of just okay, I'm not going to do the laundry now. I'm just going to sit here and write some music because
Yeah.
I'm feeling it right now.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'll remember later.
Yeah.
If inspiration strikes, then I'm after it. But all those Bach for two arrangements I did, I'm not even sure why I did it, because then I didn't really play them until recently when I found someone that I wanted to play them with.
Yeah.
And I actually have been writing music last week.
Oh.
And it's been great. And it's weird because I didn't really formally study composition. I mean, I took some lessons, but I never studied counterpoint or anything. And I know a lot of people that don't write music took counterpoint classes,
Mm-hmm.
but I just never did. I didn't think I needed to.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know, maybe there was a little, I don't want to say imposter syndrome, but insecurity about my ability to do it. But I don't really care, because nobody cares if you have a degree in something. They just care if they like it.
Yeah.
And if I don't like it, then no one's going to hear it. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if I like it, then maybe it's good.
Yeah. I think that's a good attitude, both in the putting something out there and taking the time when inspiration strikes, because it doesn't always, and you gotta go with it. It is.
It's good to have a reason to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Write for a specific set of people, and I think it's more fun when you know who's going to be playing each part.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know what their skills are and
Yeah.
what they like, but I don't feel locked in by any set of rules either.
In general, in life.
Pretty much, yeah.
Nice.
Definitely compositionally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, definitely some of the stuff I write sounds Baroque, but it also probably sounds like me.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for listening, and please subscribe to the podcast and rate the show on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. You can get my arrangements on www.bachfor2.com and keep making music with each other. We'll be hopefully right back to play something.